Back. We're back. He's singing. We're happy. NFL is back. Well, it's still 3.5 months away.
It's back for us now.
For us, it's back.
Now we're dipping our toes.
Once you dip in, you're next thing you know, you're all the way in, dude.
That pool feels so good. Good.
Yep, I think it's like my
90
pool.
degrees outside. Let's dip in.
It's like my pool, baby.
Let's do it.
All right. This is a little bit more of a fantasy kind of one. NFL players that are winners and losers after the draft for fantasy.
How many do you have here in terms of winners and losers?
I have like 10 winners and like 6 losers.
All right.
So these aren't rookies. These are current players that played last year.
Yeah.
Depending on what happened in the draft and a little bit in free agency, their situation has changed.
Sure.
Whether if you're a wide receiver and they didn't draft a wide receiver, they drafted someone, they're going to be a loser, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start here with winners. Let's start with quarterbacks here. I have Jalen Hurts. Got to be a winner. I mean,
yeah,
got weapons.
He has to be a winner, or he's a ultimate loser.
I mean, what was he last year? Like quarterback 6, dude. Remember how they stopped? I'm saying they stopped throwing the ball the second half of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He still was quarterback 6.
Sure.
I don't think the rushing's really going anywhere.
I have to recalculate my.
And it was a lot of garbage time.
Fantasy purposes.
He had every game they lost, he'd have a touchdown drive at the end of the game, and he'd get like
sure.
35 yards rushing, 40 yards passing, and a rushing touchdown.
Best bet you could have made in the second half of the season was the Eagles' backdoor covering.
Yeah,
they're down 21, and somehow he comes back.
Or he'd even have a game where they're down by 3 touchdowns.
So he was number 6 last year.
Yeah, think about that.
How does he improve? Like where do you?
Oh, I don't think he improves.
Then how is he the biggest winner?
Because he's still not getting drafted at 6. That's what I'm saying.
Who's the drafted development quarterback wise?
Now he might be up to like quarterback 8. But it's going to be the usual suspects.
Well, okay. Tell me what's his potential?
His potential is to actually throw for 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns. If he does that, then he's a top 3. Yeah.
Top 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
saying he's got the upside now, and it also helps his floor because he won't be relying on the garbage time as much because they're going to be more competitive, and he can actually throw the ball. And I feel like the rushing is always going to be there. He probably won't have 11 rushing touchdowns or whatever he had last year.
We say that about Josh Allen, though.
But he didn't have it last year. He only had 6.
But he also established himself. Josh Allen.
Right. He'll never be Josh Allen. Other quarterback winner I have is Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's not really necessarily fantasy relevant for our typical home leagues, but for best ball leagues,
I think so.
He could be. Yeah.
Wilson is
definitely a streamer, right?
I like he's number 2. I love that.
In your super flex league, for sure, I wouldn't mind him being number 2. In a best ball league,
I'm okay with Wilson my number 1.
Yeah, really,
for sure.
Wow,
for sure.
Okay.
Well, Wilson's a gamer.
Yeah,
Wilson's a gamer.
Pretty high on the Jets,
and they like you said, they were your number 1 draft team in terms of number 2,
number 1 winner.
Yeah. I mean,
and they made some strides. They were competitive last year towards the end of the year.
I legitimate I don't think offense was their issue. I think that he's able to throw it. Like Wilson can throw it.
He can sling it, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not verbalizing it well, but he can throw with the best of them. I'm telling you right now, Wilson is more than capable. The fact that they have a defensive guy, so if he does throw 3 touchdowns in the first half,
right,
and their defensive guys that they drafted in free agency can hold them to 1 touchdown. Also, you have 21-7.
Right.
Like
opens up a deep shot too.
Brees Hall, like the whole thing. I love that.
Two things that I want to say about because we recently watched Zach Wilson's highlights from last year, and there was 2 things we noticed. Right, the one was that play that hit every time. It was like maybe an 18-yard out, left sideline.
Turnovers the last couple of weeks they've been able to get. Hightower gets that sack officially. Nice block by Fant, giving time, and it is
and that's a tough throw. It's across the field. It's on time. It's a rope. So he's got that. Obviously, that deep ball, and he has some decent touch. That's what he needs to work on probably most. But the other thing we noticed was every game when the highlights started, it was like end of second quarter, early third, and they'd be down like 21-3 or 21-0 every game. Yeah. And he always kind of kept them creeping back.
Yeah,
like
they're always like, hey, bet against the Jets.
Right.
Why are they coming back now?
Right.
What the fuck? It's the Jets, right?
Because what they do, their game plan was to hide Zach Wilson early on, and then when they're down 21-0, they're like, all right, kid, play.
Yeah.
And what did he do?
Get us back in the game.
He threw some picks, but whatever. I mean, that's what
modern day Brett Favre.
Troy Aikman had awful.
Modern day Brett Favre. I'm telling you right
now. Okay, now I'm on the running back winners here. Two of these. Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
They didn't do anything. They drafted offensive lineman. They drafted Evan Neal, and they did not take another running back. So it's Devontae Booker, I believe, behind him, which I kind of like Devontae Booker. Actually, he looked better than Saquon last year. But all I'm saying is they're not, at this point, this is probably his last year in New York.
That's a good thing?
No, but just run him. You know, just run him. What are they going to try to hide him, like, save him for? You know what I mean? I'm saying there's no competition.
Not producing.
Well, I feel like he will, but the thing is, I'm saying his volume's safe. I did like kind of what they did. I mean, they're still going to be trash.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we saw James Robinson kill it on the trash team. And unfortunately, James Robinson's not as good as Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley's his reception upside, we saw this rookie year when he had about 81 receptions. He's not just your banger. He's not. You know, he's a better receiver than Zeke Elliott, and we've seen Zeke have many years of 65, 67, 68 catches.
All right.
I'm just saying winner because I feel like the work's going to be there.
No, I think I disagree with you because I think that Saquon, you're living on Saquon's laurels from his first year.
I am.
It's going to potentially his third year since he had that epic first year.
He had two decent first years. His first 2 years were good. This is
well, first like 1.5. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't
first year was great, and then
like half or whatever, and then he's been
hurt every year. And
not just once a year. He's been getting hurt and coming back and getting re-hurt.
And averaging like 3.3 yards
so
carry.
When is he going to be healthy? Right?
I guess for me, the fact that he's a 4th round pick right now.
So do you anticipate the Giants doing well? Or
no, he doesn't need to. Because at this point, I see he's game script proof. It's almost better when they're losing because he's going to have 6 catches. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And it's just for me, if he was a 2nd round pick, like
he has the talent to what you're saying to be that guy where if they're down,
would you agree that
he's going to get 12 catches?
Yeah. Would you agree he has number 1 overall player upside, even on a bad offense?
Strictly just resting on his laurels. Like I mean, I haven't seen
I know. A couple good runs.
I need to see it. I need to see it.
How many other running backs in the 4th round do you say has possibility for? Okay, let's just say top 3 upside running backs. Nobody in the 4th round, dude.
He's the most appetizing. He's the most. He's the most. You look at the menu, like, ooh, that looks good. But also, you could see someone like
food poisoning. I mean,
you could see someone like a. You could look 3. So, if you're looking at the menu, you look at like the filet mignons, and that's the. For lack of a better term, the Christian McCaffreys, right? Like the guys that are gonna
get all the work and are talented,
right? And then you look at like the middle of the menu where it's like, all right, the filet mignons are $50 a fucking steak. I'm not gonna buy that. So let's look at the $20
chicken, dude.
Let's look at the $20. Yeah, the nice chicken with the lemon.
Yeah, bruschetta on that.
The lemon, all the bullshit. It's chicken, but like you're getting good mashed potatoes. You're getting some good
yeah.
That's Saquon, right? Maybe based on like. You had that meal 3 years ago and it was good, but it's a new chef now. Yeah. There's new ingredients. We're not using the same chicken. We're not using the same this.
Yeah. And I will say also, new coaching staff, if they get creative, we'll see.
I'll say, so my early stance, obviously we're super early. We haven't really drafted much, but my early stance is Saquon's a trap.
Okay. I see it, but I play aggressive and... You know what I mean?
You've done well with that.
So I just feel like I'll go down swinging with a talent like that.
Sure.
And especially if it's ADP. The problem is, I think his name recognition hurts the draft thing because he's going to get higher than 4th round. He's going to go to 3rd round. What? And then when you start going there, no, thank you. Give me DK Metcalf in the 3rd round.
Well, I'll say where it's tough for me to agree with you on Saquon at number 2 is Zach Wilson. I can easily create a path where he's going to improve. Mm-hmm. With Saquon. You have to jump a lot.
There's other factors.
You have to jump so many hurdles.
There's health. There's team.
Well, he's going to his 3rd coach in 3 years.
Yeah.
So now, not only is like he was drafted, and then that management and coaching staff left, and then the next management and coaching staff played him sparingly. Now you're on to another guy. So now he's such old news now.
I know.
In terms of the coaching staff coming in, Well, we saw Booker. He's going to cost, what, 1/30th of what Saquon's going to cost? And he performed better. Like, to me, it makes too much sense to move off of Saquon.
Quick question. Right now, this point of his career, Saquon Barkley talent level, if he can come back to what he was when he was healthy, which we don't even know what that is.
Prime Saquon rookie year.
Okay. Let's just say if he gets 80% of what he was, 90% of what he was.
Okay.
Better than what Todd Gurley was talent level when he was having 20 touchdowns a year. Todd Gurley's better?
Yeah.
Okay.
He produced. Like.
Yeah. That was
so what do you want Saquon to do? Score the ball. Score the touchdown.
I just want the volume, dude.
No, you want a score.
I do like touchdowns.
And Todd Gurley only scored 20 touchdowns.
But the nice thing about Saquon is he doesn't need to
Saquon's never scored 20. Ever.
Oh, well, not even close.
He'll never.
He'll
never, ever.
No.
Gurley did it 3 times, 4 years in a row.
Can catch 85 balls, which is dope.
Great,
right?
But when you're 3 and 14, what does 80 catches mean to you? But when you're 12 and 4,
I think we're gonna be fighting about Saquon all year. So I'm gonna move to my number 2 here. Hopefully you agree with this one.
You got it. You can have it.
Miles Sanders. They didn't add anything.
I like it.
They only help their offense. They have Boston Scott there, and they have help me. Who's the second? Kenneth Gainwell, who actually was great early in the year, and they lost faith in him. And
Gainwell's going to be good this year.
Okay, but they got rid of Jordan Howard.
I love.
I busted out that stat to you that they had 0 rushing touchdowns the first 8 games, and then the last 9 games or whatever, they had 12 rushing touchdowns. I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts out running back touchdowns. They had 12, and Miles Sanders had 0 of those.
Yeah.
So last year was a super crazy year for them.
I like this one.
I still like Miles Sanders a talent. This is his 4th year.
No,
he's 24 years old.
I love this one.
So,
love this one.
And this is nice because he's an 8th round pick as of now, 9th round pick, 7th round pick. He's going like RB. I think it's closer to like RB 28 or 32. So it's an RB 3. Upside pick.
This reminds me of how maybe 2-3 months ago I made the bold claim that Tua is an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Simply by the product of what's going on around him.
Right.
Like, I don't think Tua alone, like, you know me with Tua.
Right.
Like,
I don't think his talent.
No, but I think the talent around him.
Right.
I think the same with Miles Sanders. I think finally it might click with him.
Yeah, and I think he's a pretty talented player. And the nice thing is,
he's not going to be focused on. Like, who besides Jalen Hurts last year?
Right.
Like, I know
if he can get the goal line work, I suppose, and if he can get a little bit of the receiving work, because we know he can
stay
catch.
Stay healthy,
and stay healthy. I guess that's 3 things. But the nice thing is, I feel like there's a really
with them is staying healthy.
Whenever you're talking about an 8th round running back, and it's very feasible in my mind that he could be an RB1. He could also be dropped. You can drop him after week 3, but I don't give a shit. At that point, you're taking A.J. Dillon, dude. A.J. Dillon's going ahead of him.
I'll say, to your point, I'll say this about Miles. He is top 3 in terms of hip strength, in terms of hip movement, like in terms of making guys miss. There's not. There might be 2 guys. Alvin Kamara. I can't even say another guy. Like Miles Sanders is, to me, top 5. Like if I had time to think about the other 4, like Miles Sanders would be top 5. But to me, off the top of my, he's top 3 in terms
he's
of
talented for sure.
In talent, for sure.
And again, I feel like people, if you were to poll
Nick Chubb.
Oh yeah, if you were to poll like fantasy community, your average player, I feel like people would probably guess he's 26 or 27.
He's
24 years old.
No, let's not talk about this too much.
Yeah, right.
You and I need to make sure we.
All right, wide receivers.
Right.
Number 1 I have on here. This isn't really any order, but I have Rashad Bateman written down. And I felt the wrath of him a couple times last year when he got healthy and was actually given playing time. I think Brainerd started him against me. Dave did in a 10-team league, 3 receivers, but still 10-team league.
Coming for you, Brainerd.
And I was making fun of the fact he started him and he had like 7 catches for 91 yards. No touchdown, but still, like he's getting to work and he can play a little bit.
That's a play. Braxton Berrios shit. Well, except for the 2 touchdowns.
But Bateman, I don't know what. I think he was a 2nd round pick last year. But remember, he hurt himself in training camp.
He was hyped up for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the thing is, I'm just reading the tea leaves here. And obviously, like I said, they're definitely going to go run heavy. But this is 2022, so run heavy in 2022 is a 50-50 split, which still
they have to pass.
Yeah, it leaves 30 pass attempts a game.
Still
if he gets 25% of those, right?
Large still going to have 35.
And Mark Andrews will be getting attention, right?
25 to 30 touchdowns.
Right.
Andrews, he's not going to have more than 12 touchdowns and 1,200 yards. There's still...
So let's say they throw 30 times a game, which is really low. Let's give him a 21% target share. 20% target share, which is kind of low. That's 6 targets a game. Which is good enough, right? Because remember when Lamar threw for 38 touchdowns somehow? I'm not saying that's happening again. But you know why he threw for 38 touchdowns? Because they were super run heavy and no one was playing the fucking pass because they were running the ball for 6 yards a carry with the running back and Lamar was averaging 8 yards a carry on the ground. So it's like, all right, well, we got to play the run. Boom. 20-yard pass.
And Lamar's
Boom,
played
touchdown.
perfectly where the Ravens are 100% committed to him because he hasn't committed to them. Like, he hasn't signed that long-term contract. He's like, no, I'm going to prove myself over and over again. He already won MVP. So, no, I'm going to prove myself before the contract extension. I expect big things from Lamar Jackson this year, and there's someone that's going to have to catch those balls. I don't expect to be Mark Andrews. I really don't.
Nah, he had 90-something catches last year.
So. I don't expect that.
No, he won't.
I expect Mark Andrews to go down.
Because he also had Marquise Brown kind of taking some attention from last year away from him, you know?
Sammy Watkins killed it too. I know it's silly, but like you could see early on, like he relied on Sammy Watkins third downs, 3rd and 20s. Where's the ball going? It's Sammy Watkins, right? Like
right.
And he caught 1 out of 4, but whatever.
Okay, next wide receiver up for me, Michael Pittman. They did address wide receiver a little bit in the draft, and Alec Pierce, who I'm a big fan of. Alec Pierce is in my top 5 out of Cincinnati, the white guy with all the hops.
Yeah.
But he's not a target. He doesn't project at least into a target monster, and also he does not project into a Matt Ryan guy. Matt Ryan's check down Susan.
Well,
Russell Gage.
He's essentially Michael Pittman, but 2 years early.
Yeah. And Michael Pittman obviously doesn't have a rapport with Matt Ryan. But I can see if I haven't heard any reports of this yet, and also reading reports isn't necessarily the best thing. But I have confidence that if Matt Ryan's going to be out there working with anyone right now, it's going to be fucking Michael Pittman. You know what I'm saying?
Matt Ryan's a MVP, Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Yeah. I know he's struggled.
Right. But he's been to a Super Bowl and he's won an MVP. So
he's going to be on the best team he's ever been on. He's going to be on the best team he's ever been on.
And one advantage is he's not going to like Pittsburgh. And granted, he was always playing in a dome in Atlanta, but he's going to a dome again. So the arm strength isn't as much a concern.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Matt.
And I'm willing to eat my words on poor man's Megatron, because last year I spent a lot of time shitting on Michael Pittman. And I can admit when I'm wrong. And this isn't necessarily about.
I didn't call Michael Pittman early.
This is about him being the biggest winner because he is the clear number 1.
Sure.
They're a run first team, but
I think Pittman blew up last year.
Oh, he did until they stopped throwing the ball. Right? He was like wide receiver 7.
Is that why he's not that hyped up? Because to me,
because the last 9 weeks, I think he was wide receiver 6 or 7 when they were throwing it with Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
then he was wide receiver 29.
When they started 0-3, and they had to come back, right? Yeah.
And then even the next 4 weeks, and then
Jonathan Taylor.
And then they were like, okay, Carson Wentz, you're throwing the ball 21 times a game.
Taylor was scoring 4 touchdowns a game.
Yeah, right. And they just weren't throwing.
They didn't have to.
Right.
Taylor was scoring 4 touchdowns a game.
So I like his talent overall. I think he's a strong player. He's on the flashy.
I love it.
He's one of those guys you can get as a wide receiver 3 if you can get him a wide receiver 3. Guaranteed target. I mean,
he's a wide receiver 1 to me in terms of talent.
Yeah. For sure. I think he's going to be more drafted as back end 2, maybe like wide receiver 19 or 20.
Keep him.
You like him there?
Yeah. Oh, I love dude. I would be content if he was my number 1.
Okay.
Honestly.
Next winner for me is Alan Lazard. I was talking about Alan Lazard a lot last year. We did our one night stand guys that we liked, the 25% or under guys. And you know how many touchdowns Alan Lazard scored last year?
8.
Yeah.
Really?
8 touchdowns, dude. Can you believe that? He really killed it in the end. He was so happy. I think he had 5 touchdowns the last 4 games.
Sure.
But Alan Lazard 6'5". He's not really a speed guy, but if anyone's going to fill that Devontae Adams role, and here's the thing with Devontae Adams. Yes, the catches and yards were nice, but where does Devontae Adams, why was he great in fantasy? It's because he scored a touchdown every goddamn game, right? He got all those red zone targets, literally clockwork, right? First quarter, first touchdown of the game, Rodgers, Adams, mark it down.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he's going to have those numbers, but he's getting drafted as a wide receiver 3.
Speaking on, let me speak to Devontae Adams. I think you know this. He's always been super, super overrated to me.
Same.
Great
player.
So just look at Rodgers' history. Remember Jordy Nelson?
Remember
James Jones?
James Jones had a 12 touchdown year.
15, 14.
Yeah,
14.
some crazy number, bro.
Led the league. So just to put it in perspective, he had Jordy Nelson lead the league in touchdowns.
Yep.
He had James Jones lead the league in touchdowns. He said Devontae Adams lead the league in touchdowns. I'm talking myself into the Lazard thing that you're saying, because initially I'm like, no, like, because I want to believe that Devontae Adams was that special. I don't think he was, though. I don't think he's the number one.
Oh, he's great.
League.
No. He's more of like number 6 or 8. Right?
Yeah,
he's not like outside the top 10 in talent.
I don't think. I would comfortably argue that Hopkins is better than
him. Yeah.
So,
Hopkins is a fucking all-timer, dude.
You think so?
Look at his numbers.
Well, not according to. I mean, the recent.
He's old.
Either way, my point is that Rodgers can make shit happen.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers does make shit happen. How much? Adams obviously was a part of that because he was consistent throughout, and they obviously kept him until they couldn't afford him, or until he decided to leave. But so no, initially I was like, I don't like it because I don't expect the Packers to do well. But when we actually talked the history of it.
Like, would you bet against Aaron Rodgers throwing 28 or 30 touchdowns this year? I wouldn't. Would you bet against him throwing 400 yards this year? I wouldn't either.
I would bet under on 30 touchdowns.
Really? Okay, but not by much, dude. Like, he's not throwing 21 touchdowns.
It doesn't matter if it's 29 or 20.
You get what I'm saying, though. Like, he's going to produce, and he's gonna have some receivers.
Yeah, his down year is 29 touchdowns.
Aaron Jones ain't catching 12 touchdowns. Robert Tonyan isn't catching 11 again. And here's another quick point I want to add here is I was about this guy last year, but I wasn't thinking that Aaron Rodgers hates his rookies. It's Amari Rodgers. Now, this is one weird thing about the tea leaves that I'm talking about, that they didn't sign Jarvis Landry. They can't trust Randall Cobb. He's a dinosaur. He's our age, but that's old for a wide receiver. He's been injured. Amari Rodgers was a third-round pick from Clemson last year. They didn't really see the field, but he was an electric kick returner. He's a playmaker. So maybe, just maybe, they know something we don't, because obviously we know nothing about Amari Rodgers because we didn't see him last year. But maybe they just have confidence with, okay, we got Lazard, we got Rodgers, we brought in Christian Watson, who's a field stretcher. He's taking MVS's role. We have Tonyan. We have 2 good running backs. We're going to roll with that. So I'm saying Amari Rodgers could be one of those guys to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
If he gets some playing time out of the slot, maybe they take Randall Cobb off the field.
All right, I'll make the first Rob Squared bet.
Yeah.
I'll take Sammy Watkins again.
Over who? Lazard?
The field, the Packers field. I'll take Sammy Watkins as the number 1 receiver. Yeah. $5.
Fantasy points. Want to do fantasy points per game since he might get hurt?
Fantasy points.
All right. First bet.
Yeah.
All right. Next one for me. I have Robert Woods. You know, say what you will about Treylon Burks taking the A.J. Brown role. Whatever, that's fine and dandy. But he's not A.J. Brown. He's a project. And even A.J. Brown, if you remember, he didn't hit until about week 10 in his rookie year, and he went crazy, right? He went bananas.
Sure.
Had like 8. Yeah, he was like a nobody. It was worse. It was similar to what Justin Jefferson did, but his was bad for 3 weeks. His rookie year.
You know what reminded me of it was early Hopkins drops. Physical. He has all the essentials, but keeps dropping passes, right?
Right.
He just needs to mentally get right.
So Burks will be fine, but I'm saying on 3rd and 6, who do you think Tannehill's looking for?
Well,
Robert Woods. And they're going to throw the ball. Again, same thing. 2022. If you're throwing 50-50, you're still going 32.
They're not trading A.J. Brown unless they got Robert Woods.
I see Robert Woods. Again, he's nothing sexy, but I feel like he's going to have 80 catches. I feel like he's going to have 1,000 yards. I feel like he's going to have 6 touchdowns.
I agree.
And what do we know about Robert Woods? He's very involved in the end-around game. At least he was with the Rams. And the Titans really haven't utilized that, but that he is good at that. So what better team to give an end-around when we have Derrick Henry, play actor, you know.
He's an older A.J. Brown. He really is.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do everything A.J. Brown can.
He's not getting talked about. I know he's coming off an ACL, but I mean,
8th round in fantasy, why not?
Yeah, why not? We'll see where he goes.
He's number 1 guy in one of the best offenses in the league.
All the reports I've seen are positive, more positive than Chris Godwin, for instance, who is still, they're saying, is not going to be ready.
Yeah.
Probably going to start in the pup. I feel like Robert Woods is ready day 1.
Sure.
And, you know, he might start off a little slow. I don't see a lot of volume there, but I feel like he's safe for 5 to 7 targets.
He's the number 1 receiver in a team that's made the conference championship.
Yep, with a pro quarterback and a good running game.
One of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah. All right, this is a kind of a double-edged sword here. I have a tight end included here. Actually, I'm going to do this one first. Terry McLaurin, real quick. Now, they did bring in some competition, but I feel like usually it's addition by subtraction on these guys. This is the opposite. Terry McLaurin, I needed someone else with him and also the quarterback change. But Terry McLaurin was so focused on last year because they had nobody, right? They brought in Curtis Samuel. He didn't play. Now they got Dotson.
Dotson! We've got Dotson here! See, nobody cares.
Who is a really pro-ready Jarvis Landry type receiver.
Right.
Nice compliment to Terry McLaurin. Maybe he won't get doubled every goddamn play. And you mix that with a little bit more arm talent with Carson Wentz.
Sure.
I like Terry McLaurin. We both love Terry McLaurin, the player. He's a dog, man. He fights for every yard. He never gives up. He goes across the middle. He goes deep. He'll catch a screen. He'll do anything you want.
For sure.
So this is kind of a lukewarm one because, he was a 3rd or 4th round pick last year. He's probably going to be a 3rd or 4th round pick again this year.
Good.
But I feel like he's just safer. And if they do take off a little bit and kind of perform like we expected them to last year, Terry McLaurin could have 12 touchdowns.
Well, I'll say this about McLaurin. Is the reason he was a 3rd or 4th round draft pick last year was because of potential.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the potential is higher this year. I agree with you. I mean, he proved it last year.
Yeah.
He's a baller. I mean,
we know he's a great player now.
For sure.
And I kind of questioned that last year a little bit, but
there's no doubt.
He showed it to us in that Thursday night game.
No doubt that he's capable. So now it's
he'll go across the middle. He'll leave his body exposed.
Go out and do it. Yep.
All right, and the last one here is one tight end, and this is the same team. It's Darnell, Mooney, and Cole Kmet. They got nobody else, and Mooney is in line. It's going to be inefficient as shit.
Yeah.
But he is in line for 9 targets a game.
Tough argument.
And he's a pretty tough player. And then Cole Kmet, tight end landscape's rough after the top 4 guys, top 5 guys. Cole Kmet's going in that 7 to 14 range, depending on the league format and however you want to draft.
Sure.
But Cole Kmet showed out a little bit last year. I don't know if they have Jimmy Graham anymore, but even if they do, he's washed.
Well,
he was taking his touchdowns though. So if he doesn't have that role, and Cole Kmet actually gets the red zone role, even though the Bears might only be in the red zone 6 times next year. I feel like his target volume's safe, and what I look for in tight ends, breakout tight ends, is talent for sure, but also I want them to be the number 2 target on the team.
Sure.
And there's not many guys that are the number, and he's clearly the number 2 target. If you take out David Montgomery, I'm not counting running backs.
Yeah.
I'm talking about tight ends and receivers.
Yeah.
Like Gronk doesn't need to be because he catches like a touchdown every game, but you're talking about just in terms of volume based.
Well, yeah. Well, just think about Gronk. Fundamentally, is different because Brady doesn't leave the pocket. So Gronk, Brady's always going to be right where he should be. So as long as Gronk's where he should be, Brady's going to throw it. Where Fields is going to be moving outside of the pocket. So if Montgomery's on the other side of the field when he rolls out right, there's no way Montgomery's getting that pass. Right. So
Cole Kmet making stuff open.
But as long as he's they'll understand that Fields is going to break out of the pocket. So they're going to hopefully the coaching staff creates plays that will allow for that. And where Montgomery's more of a distraction because he's the well-known commodity.
And these guys, don't get me wrong, are going to be empty calorie guys.
Sure.
There's not going to be a lot on the bone there. If Justin Fields throws 14 touchdowns this year, I mean, maybe that's low, but I don't see him throwing 20 touchdowns this year, dude. Who's he throwing to? He's going to need to have 10 rushing touchdowns, 8, and that doesn't help the receivers.
I'm not going to have any positive bets on the Bears.
No, but in terms of fantasy, I feel like these guys can be helpful because they're an NFL team. They're going to be still throwing the ball, and who they're going to be throwing to.
Especially if the Bears start off 0-3, and Fields is throwing 25%.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, let's get him some easy completions. And how do you do that?
I didn't. And also, we did, I think it was 42nd overall we took him at 3 years ago, or this would be his 3rd year. So I know this is a different regime, but we do have some draft. He's a higher draft pick, so maybe the regime wants to see what we got. You know what I mean? Same with Mooney. I think we know what we have with Mooney, but that's our go-to. I mean, it's not a good go-to. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's just not. He's not a guy that's going to win one-on-ones. He's not a guy that's going to be. You can't line him up on side back, go win a battle against Jalen Ramsey or the targets are going to be there for these guys. And that's what we're looking for.
He's the mismatch you want when you have 2 good receivers on the outside, right? He's not a Jimmy Graham or a Gronk or a Antonio Gates. He doesn't create the mismatches. He takes advantage of the mismatches.
All right, my losers, real quick. 2 quarterbacks. Justin Fields, tie into that. I do like his rushing upside, and if they added a couple other weapons, I would like him in Superflex and or best ball.
Would you ever draft him? Though?
In best ball, yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's just he's in a fucking barren wasteland. Yeah. So I don't talk more about that. Aaron Rodgers I have here for fantasy. Same thing I talked about with the other guys.
How in terms
he's like number 9.
Oh, so he's still been drafted well.
Yeah, decent enough, but like
top 10. He was.
Yeah.
So before his MVP year, he was getting drafted like
11. No, it was like 11 or 12 or 13. Yeah.
Well, either way, outside of like the top, the starter, like he was a fringe starter.
I could be wrong. He might be 10 or 11. I think he's still inside the top 12 because of his name recognition.
I think if you're looking for draft like the 9th or 10th quarterback,
he's like right around Stafford.
He should be someone you could consider.
But I just don't see any upside there. It's crazy to say with Aaron Rodgers, but like it's just.
Well, the upside I see is that he has to do everything.
Yeah, but they're still a run first team. That's what I mean.
Until they're down 14 points.
I still think they're too competitive for that.
They're not going to run the ball.
That's the problem. Is they're too competitive. Like, if he was on a bad team, I wouldn't care who his weapons were. If he's on a good team that's going to be competitive, and like, I just don't see him throwing 40 touchdowns. Who's he throwing it to?
Also, I see with Rodgers, if they're 0-4 and he gets a knee sprain, instead of him rushing back, he might sit out, right?
Yeah.
He's already getting his $40 million guaranteed. So.
All right, I have 3 names left, all running backs here for losers. It was hard for me to... the winners are more apparent, and I'd rather jerk guys off than shit on them.
Or do both, right?
Well, yeah, Odell Beckham. Can we cut that?
You tell me.
All right, Devin Singletary. They drafted Dalvin Cook's brother, James Cook, I believe. I've watched his tape. You should watch his tape. Really good, dude. This guy's electric. He's smaller. He's 6'1", 195, 200. And he's a Georgia guy, so he had to fight for playing time because apparently every Georgia running back's an NFL player, and he only got 9 touches a game. But from what I saw, he is shifty. He is fast. He's a great route runner. And
so Singletary's a loser.
Yeah, because the Bills have been thirsty for a playmaker at running back.
I think
Singletary was okay.
I still like that.
Yeah, but he's not a playmaker. He's a steady guy.
Top scoring running back.
All right. No, Singletary I feel like is going to start off doing well. He's still going to get 60, 70% of the work, but they're going to work him in, and maybe even Zach Moss. We don't know. That's a loser for me. And his ADP isn't that crazy. It was never that high. Hard to judge from these early drafts because everyone assumed they were going to take Breece Hall.
Sure.
So everyone was, but I think he's going to settle around like 30 or 28. Too high for me. You know what I mean? Right. I feel like it's a big committee. Next one, Michael Carter. I was real big on Michael Carter because I didn't think they'd take a running back, and I liked his film last year. Yeah. He's just going to be a third down back. Yeah. And the nice thing is he's a premium handcuff, which I love those guys. And then
that's
when they got time
alluded,
yeah. And the last guy I have here is Antonio Gibson. Now the Bills had J.D. McKissick, and here this is also the tie-in to the reason I don't like Devin Singletary is that the Bills signed J.D. McKissick and somehow,
everything you're saying is replacing McKissick, not Moss.
No. I'm saying Singletary. You mean? Yeah. No, and they just wanted that guy that can because McKissick's a nice playmaker. Especially on third down. They don't run the ball ever,
fumbles once a game.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Bills never run the ball. So they just rather have a receiving back.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe a guy that can block, which is Zach Moss. But, so, anyway, the Bills had signed him. That was a report. And, literally 3 hours later, it's like, no, actually, the Redskins matched the offer or whatever, and now he's back there. And then they also, I can't think of the guy they drafted. I didn't write it down. But the Redskins spent like a 3rd-round pick on a running back.
No shit.
Like, why? You signed McKissick. Gibson was a wide receiver in college, and they never give him a chance to receive. He's been a little banged up. So you have McKissick, then you draft a 3rd-round running back, and then you have Gibson. I love Gibson, man.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the formula is to have a million running backs. That way you're never out of a running back.
The problem is that the Redskins only had like 6 picks in this draft or 5 picks.
Yeah.
And they spent a 3rd rounder on a running back when you have McKissick and Gibson. That's not your problem, Washington.
Well, no, I don't think they were that far away from making the playoffs last year.
No, but running back isn't the answer for them. Like, they have decent running backs, dude. McKissick can play. We know Gibson can play. Just take an offensive lineman. Take a linebacker.
Right,
I don't know.
So a lot of the McKissick's plays came on. Who was the kid that played last year?
Heineke.
Yeah, where they were down 14 points in the 4th quarter and they're trying to come back.
Wheel route.
It was a wheel route, and McKissick made the play. Right.
It
wasn't like
it wasn't a good throw. I mean,
yeah. So they were force feeding like the guy, like the last option, and somehow Heineke made a play that shouldn't have been made, and yeah, I wasn't a fan of
Gibson.
Yeah, Gibson last year at all. This year, so a little bit more. I'm a Carson Wentz fan, so there's a lot of biasy with that. So
right. No, the thing is where his price point is. But right now, before all the even before the drafts, he was a late second round pick.
Where's he at now?
I don't know where he's at now. We're gonna have to look at that, but it's not going to be much. Middle third, maybe. That's still too rich for my blood.
Yeah, if he can.
Gibson or Barkley. Gibson or Barkley.
I'll take Gibson, honestly.
Really? Even with all that competition?
I am a fan of Barkley's talent, but I like Gibson's situation better. I am not going to touch the Giants this year.
Oh. What about Kenny Galladay?
No.
Just kidding. All right, Rob Squared.
And it's been a complete joy.